When Judge Judy took the bench that afternoon, she believed she was presiding over just another routine case. But the illusion shattered the instant a Mafia boss's lawyer stood, locked eyes with her, and calmly said, "She works for us." The courtroom fell into stunned silence. Faces drained of color, security froze mid-step. Judge Judy didn't speak, she stared. Because at that exact moment, a sealed file slid onto the bench, and inside it was a truth powerful enough to destroy everyone in that room. But before we get into it, tell me, where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments, and hit subscribe for more shocking courtroom moments. The sealed file sits on the bench like it has a pulse, its edges lifting every few seconds as if the truth inside is restless. Judge Judy does not touch it. Not yet. The room is too quiet, too aware, waiting for her hands to move. The camera glides across the courtroom, capturing the tension that started the moment the Mafia lawyer said, "She works for us." The words still cling to the air like smoke that refuses to fade. Judge Judy holds his stare for a long, unbroken moment, long enough for everyone in the gallery to wonder if the temperature just dropped. The lawyer stands with the posture of a man who believes in his own power. Not loud, not threatening, just confidently still. His client, the defendant, mirrors the same composure, though his eyes watch the judge with a predator's quiet curiosity. Judge Judy finally exhales, a slow and measured breath. She taps the bench lightly, not with the gavel, but with her fingertip, a signal that she is choosing patience instead of anger. The sound is small, but it moves through the room like a warning. "Elena," she says, her voice steady. "Step forward." The plaintiff rises hesitantly. Elena is small, almost swallowed by the oversized sweater she wears, and the camera closes in on her trembling hands. She clutches her statement like it is both a shield and a confession. When she steps into the center of the courtroom, her eyes flicker, not toward the judge, but toward the Mafia lawyer. Judge Judy notices. Before she can begin, the sealed file shifts again. A single page, barely loosened by motion, peeks from the corner like an exposed nerve. Judy glances at it, then shuts her hand over the top to keep it still. She does not open it. The timing feels wrong. The room feels wrong. She looks at Elena. "You filed a claim of coercion and financial manipulation. I want to hear your voice, not his. Begin when you are ready." Elena swallows hard. Her mouth opens, but no sound comes out. Her eyes drift again to the lawyer. His expression is relaxed, too relaxed, like he is waiting for a performance he has already rehearsed. Judge Judy sees the hesitation. Her gaze sharpens, the kind of sharpness that has ended careers and cut through lies for decades. "Elena," she says softly, "look at me, not at him." Elena forces her eyes upward. They are filled with something deeper than fear, something closer to guilt or warning. Before she can speak, the Mafia lawyer steps forward and says, "Your Honor, I suggest starting with the file. It will save us all time." Judge Judy does not move. She does not blink. Then, with a calmness that unsettles the entire room, she asks, "Why are you so eager for me to open it?" The lawyer smiles, and as Elena finally draws a shaky breath to answer, the sealed file slides another inch open, on its own. Elena stands there like a shadow pulled into the light, her breath sharp, her eyes wide. She is not frozen because she is afraid. She is frozen because she knows something she wishes she did not. The courtroom seems to lean toward her, waiting. Even the overhead lights hum louder, as if urging her to speak. Judge Judy watches carefully, noticing the tremor in Elena's fingers and the way her shoulders curl inward, protecting a truth she is not ready to surrender. "Start when you are ready," Judy repeats, her tone calm but unyielding. Elena inhales, but her voice escapes only as a thin whisper. He told me that." She stops. Her lips press together, trembling. Her eyes dart to the defendant. He sits with the lazy ease of a man who believes the world bends around him. The Mafia lawyer stands beside him, hands clasped behind his back, posture too confident for innocence. The camera cuts to a close-up of Elena's right wrist. The faint outline of a dark bruise hides beneath her sleeve, visible only in the quick lift of her hand. Judy notices instantly, her eyes narrow. Elena, Judge Judy says gently, how did you get that injury? Elena's breath catches, her gaze drops. Her silence deepens the tension in the room until it feels like a hand pressing against every chest in the gallery. Elena, Judy repeats, answer the question. This time, Elena looks not at Judy, but at the Mafia lawyer. He does not smile, but the lack of reaction is worse. He is still, completely still, like a threat that does not need motion to be understood. I fell, Elena whispers. Judy's eyebrows lift slightly. A lie, a small one, but a lie all the same. And did you fall before or after you filed this case? Judy presses. Elena's throat tightens. Her eyes shimmer with something raw, shame, fear, something else beneath both. After, she says. The gallery murmurs. The defendant smirks. Judy holds up a hand for silence, her voice steady. Elena, I need the truth. It is then that Elena finally looks up, and her eyes are full of a secret she cannot contain forever. I wanted to speak, she begins, voice trembling. I wanted to tell someone what he did. But he said that if I talked, if I even tried. Her words cut off as the Mafia lawyer shifts his weight almost imperceptibly, but to Elena it is enough. Her voice dies instantly. Judge Judy's expression hardens. She leans forward, the light catching the edge of her glasses like a blade. Elena, she says slowly, tell me exactly what he said to you. Elena's breath stutters. She opens her mouth to answer, but instead of speaking, her eyes slide toward the lawyer with a look of pure, silent terror. The defendant laughs, quietly, almost politely, the kind of laugh someone uses when they believe danger belongs only to other people. The sound is soft, but it ripples across the courtroom like a stone dropped into still water. Elena flinches. Judge Judy does not. Her eyes track the defendant, studying the relaxed posture, the folded hands, the easy breathing. Not the breathing of an innocent man, but of someone so accustomed to power that consequences feel like myths. The camera widens, capturing the Mafia lawyer standing beside him. His expression remains unchanged, composed to the point of arrogance. There is no fear in his stance, no tension in his shoulders. He watches Elena not with curiosity, but with certainty, like he already knows every word she will or will not say. Judge Judy shifts her focus back to Elena. Do not look at him, she warns gently. Look at me. But Elena cannot. She tries. Her chin lifts a few inches, but the weight of the defendant's presence drags her gaze sideways again. Her voice cracks before any words form. The Mafia lawyer steps forward. Your Honor, he says smoothly, my client is growing concerned that this hearing is drifting far from the facts. The plaintiff's emotional instability is obstructing her ability to answer basic questions. Judy turns her head slowly toward him. The lighting hits her glasses, hiding her eyes for a moment, an image that feels like a warning. Sit down, she says. Her voice is calm, but the air behind it feels sharp. The lawyer hesitates, just long enough for the gallery to gasp. No one tells this man to sit. No one pushes back. Not in the world he comes from. But in this room, Judy's gavel is heavier than any threat he can offer, and he eventually returns to his chair. Still composed, still too calm, but not untouched. Judy watches Elena again. You are not unstable, she says quietly. You are afraid. There is a difference. Elena swallows hard. Her hands shake even more now, but something in her eyes flickers. Maybe recognition, maybe shame. Tell me, Judy continues, what happened after you filed the complaint? Elena draws a trembling breath. He came to my shop, she whispers. The defendant's smile widens. Not a friendly smile. A smile that says he remembers something differently, or that he remembers it too well. And what did he say to you? Judy asks. Elena hesitates again. A long, painful silence sinks across the room. Even the clocks seem to stop ticking. Before she can answer, the lawyer breathes out a soft, dismissive sigh, barely audible, but Elena hears it like a command. Her eyes lock onto him again, freezing her voice. Judge Judy notices the reaction instantly. "Elena," she says in a low, steady tone, "are you afraid of him? Or are you afraid of what happens if you tell the truth?" Elena's knees weaken. Her breath shudders. Her fingers dig into her sleeve. And just as she finally opens her mouth to speak, the Mafia lawyer's smile grows, slow, deliberate, and terrifyingly confident. A single sheet of paper slips free from the sealed file and glides across the bench like it is escaping. Judge Judy reaches for it, and the room holds its breath, waiting for her fingers to touch the truth. The paper trembles in her hand, caught in a draft that should not exist. She steadies it, eyes narrowing as she studies the partially exposed text. The gallery leans forward unconsciously, drawn in by the quiet shift in energy. Even the defendant stops smiling. The Mafia lawyer, however, watches with the unblinking calm of a man who believes the outcome has already been written. His hands interlace behind his back. His breathing stays slow, too slow. Judge Judy lifts the entire file now, no longer delaying the inevitable. She opens it with deliberate precision, like she is disarming something dangerous. The camera closes in on her eyes as they scan the first page. A contract. Elena's name. Large amounts of money. Transfers. Dates. And a signature. One that looks exactly like Elena's handwriting. Rounded letters, neat spacing, the small curl in the final stroke. "Elena," Judy says quietly. "Step closer." Elena obeys, but her body moves as if pulled on invisible strings. Her eyes widen when she sees the document. Her hands hover above it, trembling so violently she pulls them back before touching the page. "That is not mine," she whispers. The Mafia lawyer tilts his head slightly. "She signed it voluntarily." Judy ignores him. Her attention stays on Elena. "Are you telling me you have never seen this document before today?" Elena shakes her head. Tears gather at the edges of her eyes. "Never. I would never agree to that." The judge looks at the signature again. Something about it bothers her. It's perfection. Too clean, too confident. A forgery made by someone who knew how to copy, not how to doubt. She flips to the next page. A second contract. Another signature. This one even cleaner, as if the writer had grown comfortable. Elena's breath leaves her in a gasp. The entire courtroom freezes. The defendant leans back, smirking now. The lawyer does not move. "Elena," Judy says softly, "you are telling me both of these signatures are forgeries?" "I swear," Elena cries, "I never wrote that. I never agreed. They made this to trap me." "Trap you," the lawyer repeats, his voice almost amused. "Or protect you." Judge Judy turns sharply toward him. Her stare could cut stone. "Who drafted these documents?" The lawyer offers a gentle smile. "You already know." Judy's jaw tightens. She does know. The confidence, the arrogance, the way he watches Elena crumble. She lowers her gaze back to the file and stops. The third page contains something she had not expected. Dates that do not align. Amounts that contradict prior statements. A discrepancy that breaks their story open. Her voice drops lower, colder. "Your timeline is impossible." A flicker of uncertainty flashes across the lawyer's face, and then Judy turns the page, revealing Elena's perfect signature on yet another document. This time, Elena's knees buckle as she whispers, "I never wrote that." The two signatures lie side by side on Judge Judy's bench, identical down to the smallest curve. Too perfect, too clean, too impossible. A hush settles over the courtroom, the kind that makes even breathing feel inappropriate. The camera drops into a close-up of the documents, their ink lines unwavering, every stroke matching like a mirror held against itself. Elena stares at them as if looking at her own ghost. Judge Judy lifts the pages again, studying the handwriting with an intensity that stiffens the room. "Elena," she says, voice low but steady, "these signatures match your legal submissions from previous filings. Not similar, identical. Letter for letter." Elena shakes her head so quickly it looks painful. "I did not sign anything. I never agreed to any of this. I did not even know these papers existed." The defendant leans back in his chair, stretching his arms as if enjoying the show. The Mafia lawyer remains still, but something about his stillness feels different now, calculated, bracing. His jaw tightens for half a second, the first crack in his mask. Judy catches it. She sets the documents aside and folds her hands. "Tell me, Ms. Elena, who had access to your original paperwork? Employment forms, business records, anything with your signature already on it?" Elena tries to answer, but her voice fractures. I do not know. My brother handled most of the paperwork when I first opened the shop. He warned me. He warned me that people were watching us after we refused them." The word "them" lands heavy. The Mafia lawyer finally steps forward. "Your Honor, this is emotional theatrics. There is no proof these signatures are anything other than voluntary agreements." Judy does not look at him. If they were voluntary, why hide them? Why bring sealed documents into a civil hearing without proper disclosure? A pause. The first meaningful pause. The lawyer's eyes drift toward the defendant, as if waiting for direction. But the defendant only stares at Elena with a cold amusement, fingers tapping the table in slow, rhythmic patterns. 3 taps, a stop, then 3 again. A signal, a reminder. Elena notices. Her body tenses, her breath shortens. Judy sees that too. "Elena," the judge says gently, "what are you afraid will happen if you tell me the truth about these papers?" Elena presses a shaking hand against her mouth. Tears gather but do not fall. He told me?" Her voice dissolves. The lawyer snaps, "Do not answer that." Judy turns her head sharply toward him. She will answer. Elena's shoulders collapse inward. "He said they could make my signature appear anywhere, that they could sign for me, that it would look real." Her voice breaks. "He said no one would ever believe me." The gallery murmurs again. Fear ripples like electricity. Judy exhales slowly. The truth is forming, piece by piece. "So the forgery was not only planned," she says, "it was promised." The Mafia lawyer's composure finally slips, just a fraction, but enough. Judy narrows her eyes. "Then I have only one question left," she says. "Why were you meeting with her before this case even existed?" The Mafia lawyer adjusts his tie, but the movement is wrong, too slow, too deliberate, the motion of a man preparing to lie. Judge Judy notices. Everyone notices. The tension deepens until the air itself feels heavy. The lawyer stands straight, chin lifted in that signature posture of men who mistake intimidation for intelligence. His calm expression falters only for a moment, just long enough for the camera to catch it. "You want to know why I met with her?" he says, voice smooth again. "It was a simple consultation, nothing more." Judy leans forward slightly, a subtle shift that carries more force than a raised voice. Consultation for what? She had no dispute filed, no investigation, nothing pending. The lawyer hesitates, measuring his response. "Her brother requested that I speak with her. He wanted to ensure she had proper legal guidance." Elena shakes her head immediately. "No, he would never send me to you." Her voice trembles, but conviction fuels it. "He warned me about you. He said you. A soft thud interrupts her. The defendant has tapped his knuckles against the table again. 3 taps, a stop, 3 taps. The same pattern as before. A quiet command disguised as impatience. Elena recoils instinctively. Judge Judy's eyes narrow. "We are done with coded signals," she says sharply. "If you tap that table again, you will be removed." The defendant lowers his hand, the smirk returning, but thinner this time. Less confidence, more annoyance. Judy turns back to the lawyer. "What did you tell her during this so-called consultation?" He folds his hands calmly, but there is sweat forming where his thumb meets his palm. "I told her to stay quiet until the proper channels were ready. Her emotions were unstable." Elena steps forward suddenly. The camera swings to her face, capturing the raw fear returning to her eyes. "That is not what you said," she whispers. "You said that if I told anyone what you were doing." The lawyer cuts her off. "She is confused. She is terrified," Judy counters. Her voice softens, not for him, but for Elena. Tell me exactly what he threatened. Elena looks down, breath quivering. He said he could protect me, she says slowly. But not if I made trouble, not if I refused to play along. He said he knew where my brother was. The gallery erupts, a wave of shocked murmurs rolling through the room. Even the cameras seem to freeze. Judy raises a hand, silencing everyone. Elena, she says gently, your brother. Why is he relevant to all this? Elena's lips tremble. She clutches the edge of the podium like it is the only thing holding her upright. My brother disappeared, she whispers. And they said they could make me disappear too. Judge Judy's jaw tightens. The Mafia lawyer's composure fractures again. Elena, Judy says quietly, who are you protecting? Elena lifts her head, tears gathering. My brother, she breathes. They have my brother. If you were sitting in that courtroom, what would you do? Stay silent or speak up when Elena looked at you for help? The moment Elena says, my brother, the courtroom changes. Not the lighting, not the sound, the energy, as if the truth finally found the door it has been trying to enter. Judge Judy leans back slightly, absorbing the weight of those two words. The gallery falls into a heavy silence, the kind that settles on shoulders and makes chests tighten. Even the cameras tilt forward, almost instinctively, as if the technology itself senses the shift. The Mafia lawyer does not speak. For the first time, his stillness is not confidence, it is calculation. His mind is moving, not his body. His eyes remain steady, cold, and unblinking. The defendant, however, reacts. His smirk disappears. His jaw flexes. A tiny shadow crosses his face, a flicker of annoyance or fear. It is hard to tell which, but it is enough for Judge Judy to see. Elena, Judy says, her voice quieter now. Tell me what happened to your brother. Elena's breath shakes. She holds her hands together, squeezing tight as if bracing against the memory. He refused them, she says. He refused to help them move money through our shop. He told them no, and then he vanished. Her voice cracks, but she forces herself to continue. They told me that if I did not cooperate, I would vanish too. The gallery gasps. A woman in the back row presses a hand over her mouth. Even the bailiff shifts his weight, eyeing the defendant carefully. Judge Judy turns to the Mafia lawyer. Is this true? He lifts his chin with slow precision. Her brother was unreliable. If he left, it was without encouragement from us. People like him run all the time. Judy's eyes narrow. People like him? The lawyer remains silent, and that silence says everything. Judy continues. Elena, did your brother ever mention being threatened? Elena nods instantly. Yes. He told me they wanted him to sign something, and when he refused, they told him it would not matter because they had ways of making a signature appear. The room stiffens. Even the fluorescent lights seem to buzz louder. Judy slowly lowers her gaze to the forged documents. These, she says, tapping the pages, are what he warned you about. Elena closes her eyes, tears rising. Yes. The defendant suddenly shifts forward in his seat. Her brother was a coward, he mutters. Every head turns. Elena stiffens. Judge Judy's voice drops to a level colder than anything heard yet. Say that again. The defendant smirks, regaining a fragment of his arrogance. A coward. He ran. We did not need him. The lawyer casts him a sharp glare. Too late. Judy leans forward. The camera tightens on her face. Then tell me this, she says, voice low. Why does Elena believe you can make people disappear? A tremor runs through the lawyer's composure. The defendant's eyes dart sideways, calculating something unseen. Suddenly, Elena whispers, because he told me so. Who? Judy asks. Elena points, not at the defendant, not at the documents. She points at the lawyer. He said he could make my brother disappear, Elena breathes. And I think he did. For the first time, the Mafia lawyer does not look composed. His jaw tightens. His shoulders rise a fraction too high. Control is slipping, and the room feels it, like a storm forming behind glass. Judge Judy watches the shift with razor focus. A courtroom is not about volume, it is about pressure. And now, the pressure is pressing back against the people who once wielded it. Elena, Judy says, are you telling this court that he made threats about your brother's disappearance? Elena nods slowly, her voice a thin thread. He said my brother would go somewhere quiet until I learned how to behave. A tremor passes through the gallery. Even the defendant glances at the lawyer, not with concern, with irritation, the irritation of someone discovering his partner has overplayed his hand. The lawyer finally speaks. Your Honor, she is distorting a simple conversation. I explained that her brother may have left town to avoid trouble after refusing to cooperate with us. That is not what you told me, Elena whispers. You said he would stay hidden until I learned to agree. Judge Judy turns her gaze on the lawyer with a stare that has broken egos stronger than his. Would you like to explain why her version sounds rehearsed out of fear and yours sounds rehearsed out of convenience? The lawyer's composure falters again. His throat tightens. His hands, once folded neatly, now grip the edge of the table. The defendant shifts, annoyed. Stop talking, he mutters under his breath. You are making this worse. The lawyer glares at him. Tension fractures between them like a glass pane, developing its first crack. Judge Judy continues. Elena mentioned you met her before this case existed. Why? I told you, the lawyer snaps. Her brother asked me to... No, Elena interrupts softly, shaking her head. He warned me to stay away from you. The lawyer freezes, just for a second. But Judy sees it. Everyone sees it. The camera zooms closer, his eyes dart, calculating, choosing which lie will collapse the slowest. Judy leans forward, her voice quieter than the air. Mr. Lawson, you are running out of places to hide. He opens his mouth to respond, but Elena is already reaching into her bag. Her fingers tremble, but her movements are deliberate. She pulls out a small device, black and scuffed, something handled too many times out of fear. Elena? Judy asks. What is that? Elena looks at the lawyer, then at the defendant, then finally at the judge. Something I never wanted to play, something I hoped I would never need. The Mafia lawyer stiffens. Panic flickers across his eyes, no longer subtle, no longer controlled. Elena, he warns, do not. She presses a button. A crackle of audio fills the room. A voice emerges, calm, practiced, confident. We do not fear Judge Judy. She fears us. Gasps erupt. The defendant lunges forward as security blocks him instantly. Elena lets the recording play louder. It is the lawyer's voice. And it is only just beginning. The recording crackles through the courtroom like static on a storm line. Then the voice becomes clear, cold, confident, unmistakably his, and everything stops. The words echo across the walls, lingering in the air long after the audio moves on. We do not fear Judge Judy. She fears us. Gasps ripple through the gallery, sharp, disbelieving, fearful. Even the bailiff freezes mid-step, his hand hovering near his radio. The cameras zoom in instinctively, lenses locking onto the Mafia lawyer's face. He does not blink. He does not breathe. He simply stands there, complexion draining to a chalky pale, as though he has just watched his own mask fall to the floor. Judge Judy leans back slowly, her expression unreadable. Only her eyes move, tracking every flinch in the room. Her silence carries more weight than the recording could ever match. Elena holds the device against her chest like she is clutching her own heartbeat. Her hands shake, but she does not back down. She meets Judy's gaze with a courage that did not exist an hour ago. The defendant twists in his seat, fury flashing across his face. "Turn that off!" he snarls, but the bailiff steps forward, a single shake of his head silencing him more effectively than any command. The recording continues, the lawyer's voice shifting into a smooth arrogance that now sounds monstrous in the open air. And as long as she does not open that file, we own the truth. More murmurs, more shock. The courtroom feels like it is shrinking around him. Judge Judy finally speaks. Play it again. Her voice is steady, controlled, surgical. Elena presses the button without hesitation. The audio replays, louder this time, each word carving deeper into the room. When the line about Judy appears again, the gallery's reaction is immediate, a loud gasp followed by deafening silence. When the recording ends, Judy folds her hands. "Mr. Lawson," she says, using the lawyer's name for the first time today. "Approach." He does not move. It is the defendant who hisses first, "Get up." But the lawyer stays frozen, as if fear has rooted him to the spot. Judy's tone sharpens. "Approach." Finally, he steps forward. Too slowly, too small. Gone is the man who entered this courtroom with quiet authority. In his place stands someone unraveling, the arrogance dissolved into dread. "Do you deny the voice is yours?" Judy asks. He swallows. "Your Honor, that recording—" "Answer the question." His lips part, but no sound comes out. The gallery watches, breathless. Elena whispers, "You told me no one would ever believe me." Judge Judy's gaze shifts back to her, then to the trembling lawyer. She leans forward, and her voice carries through the courtroom like a blade drawn from its sheath. "Believe her," Judy says, "or believe your own voice. Either way, your control ends here." The lawyer opens his mouth to respond, but no words come out. Not because he refuses to speak, but because he has finally realized he cannot lie his way out of what comes next. Do you think remorse should ever erase guilt? Or does justice demand consequences no matter how late the truth appears? Judge Judy does not raise her voice. She does not need to. The silence she creates is louder than any outburst, the kind of silence that makes guilty men sweat. The Mafia lawyer stands at the center of that silence, small beneath the bright courtroom lights. His eyes dart from the judge to his client, then to the gallery, as if searching for an escape route that does not exist. Judge Judy's gaze remains steady. "You will answer the question," she repeats. "Is that your voice on the recording?" His jaw quivers. "Your Honor, the file has clearly been edited." "Stop," Judy cuts in, the words slicing through the air. "I did not ask for excuses. I asked for the truth." The lawyer swallows again. His breath shudders. The defendant shifts beside him, seething with humiliation. The power dynamic between them, once rigid and intimidating, fractures with every passing second. Elena watches from the witness stand, her hands trembling but her posture upright. The fear that once clung to her like a shadow has begun to peel away. Courage replaces it, raw but undeniable. Judge Judy turns to her. "Elena, did your brother give you this recording?" Elena nods. "Yes. He said if anything happened to him, if he went missing, I should play it for you." The gallery murmurs, a wave of unease rippling through the room. Judy nods once, slowly. "Then your brother trusted the truth more than he feared these men." The defendant scoffs loudly. "Her brother ran. He was weak." Judy's glare snaps to him. "One more interruption, and you will be escorted out." His mouth snaps shut. She shifts her attention back to the lawyer. "You claimed earlier that you met with Elena to give her guidance. Now we hear you discussing control, fear, ownership of truth. So tell me, Mr. Lawson, were you guiding her or intimidating her?" He breathes in sharply. His voice comes out thin. "It was taken out of context." "Play it again," Judy orders. Elena presses the button. The courtroom fills with his arrogance a second time. "We do not fear Judge Judy. She fears us." This time, no one gasps, no one moves, because now it is evidence, not shock. Judy leans forward. "Your words reflect intent, your threats reflect control, and your silence reflects guilt." The lawyer's facade shatters. His shoulders slump. The defendant glares at him with pure disgust, turning away as if distancing himself from the weakness beside him. Judy's voice softens, not with kindness, but with deadly precision. "Mr. Lawson, where is Elena's brother?" He flinches, sweat beads at his temples. "I do not know," he lies. Judy straightens. "I can tell when someone lies, and you are lying now." The gallery erupts. The lawyer shrinks, panic flashing in his eyes. Elena covers her mouth, tears forming again, hope mixing with dread. Judy lifts her gavel slightly but does not strike it. Instead, she leans forward and speaks with chilling clarity. "Mr. Lawson, you will tell this court where her brother is, or you will watch the consequences fall harder than you ever imagined." The lawyer opens his mouth, and this time, something breaks in his expression, as if the truth is fighting its way out whether he wants it or not. The lawyer's mouth opens, but no sound comes out. Not yet. It is the expression on his face that speaks first, an expression of a man who realizes the truth is no longer his to control. Judge Judy waits. The silence stretches. The entire courtroom hangs on the thin, trembling thread between his inhale and whatever he is about to confess. "Mr. Lawson," Judy says quietly. "Say it." His throat works as he swallows. His eyes flick to the defendant, who is glowering, fists clenched so tightly the knuckles bleach white. Pressure radiates between them like an unseen electrical current, snapping and sparking. Finally, the lawyer breaks. "Elena's brother was involved," he mutters. Elena's breath stutters. "Involved? Involved in what?" The lawyer closes his eyes, as if bracing for the impact of truth. "He worked for us." A ripple of gasps sweeps through the gallery. Elena staggers back a step, the small sound she makes closer to a sob than a gasp. Judy raises a hand, steadying the room. "He was forced to work for you," Elena says, voice trembling with disbelief. "No," the lawyer whispers. "He volunteered." At first, the defendant slams his palm on the table. A sharp crack echoes. "Do not tell her anything else." But the cracks in the lawyer's resolve have already become fractures. He stands straighter now, not in confidence, but in surrender. The truth is pouring through the seams. "He approached us," the lawyer continues. "But when he learned what the organization was really doing, he wanted out. He tried to expose us." Elena shakes her head violently. "You are lying. He would never risk his life without telling me." "He did tell you," the lawyer says, voice softening just slightly. "You just did not understand what he was protecting you from." Judy's eyes narrow. "Are you saying her brother attempted to act as a witness? A whistleblower?" The lawyer hesitates, then nods. "He was feeding information to federal agents," he admits. "He helped them gather evidence. He wanted to bring the organization down. But when the defendant found out—" He stops. He cannot finish the sentence. Elena's hands fly to her mouth. Tears spill freely now. "So my brother, he did not run? He did not abandon me?" "No," the lawyer says, voice cracking for the first time. "He was trying to save you, to protect you from all of this." The defendant lunges to his feet. "Enough!" Security grabs him instantly, holding him in place as he thrashes against the truth unraveling in front of him. Judy lifts her gavel, but she does not strike it. Her voice is steadier than iron. "Mr. Lawson," she says, "you will finish your statement. Where is Elena's brother now?" The lawyer looks at Elena, really looks at her, for the first time. His voice barely escapes. "He is alive." Elena collapses against the podium, sobbing. The gallery explodes with shock, cries, movement. The lawyer wipes his trembling hands against his suit and adds, "He was never protecting us. He was protecting her." The defendant explodes from his chair so violently the table shakes. For the first time, the mask slips, and the courtroom sees not confidence, but a man watching his empire crumble beneath him. Security surges forward, hands locking around his arms as he thrashes, red-faced and furious. The sound of metal chair legs scraping across the floor screeches through the courtroom, a metallic cry echoing the chaos in his expression. Judge Judy does not flinch. Her gaze follows him with cold precision, as if watching a tower burn down in slow motion. "Sit him down," Judy orders. Her voice does not rise, but the authority behind it is absolute. The defendant fights the bailiffs for a final moment, then collapses backward into his seat, chest heaving, eyes wild with a mixture of rage and panic. The Mafia lawyer stands several feet away from him now, as if physical distance could soften the betrayal that has just been exposed. His confidence is gone. His hands shake. Sweat glistens along his hairline. Every breath he takes sounds like it hurts. Judge Judy shifts her attention to him. You helped orchestrate this, she says. You lied, you threatened, and you attempted to manipulate an entire legal proceeding. His lips tremble. I did not have a choice. Elena looks at him, tears still streaking her cheeks but her expression sharper than before. You had many choices, she whispers. My brother did. He chose to protect me. What did you choose? The lawyer's face crumples. Survival, he says. You do not understand what happens when you say no to him. He jerks his head toward the defendant without looking directly at him. The defendant slams his fist on the table again, but this time it is not power. It is desperation. Judy holds up a hand. You will not speak unless spoken to. He freezes, chest shaking. The courtroom breathes with him, every inhale strained. The gallery watches the collapse of men who once believed themselves untouchable. Judy turns to Elena. Her voice softens, not out of pity, but out of respect. Your brother risked everything to protect you. What he faced, no one should face alone. Elena nods slowly, gripping the podium like it is keeping her upright. She is crying, but she is no longer breaking. She is rebuilding. The Mafia lawyer lowers his head, shame pulling at his shoulders. I forged her signatures, he admits quietly. I did everything he told me to do. I thought if I followed orders, I would be safe. And were you? Judy asks. He hesitates, then shakes his head. No one is safe with him. The defendant's fury ignites again. You weak little— Enough! Judy snaps, and the word cracks across the courtroom like a whip. Your intimidation stops here. A long silence follows. For the first time, that silence belongs to Elena, not to them. It surrounds her like a protective wall. Judge Judy straightens a stack of papers with calm finality. This hearing is no longer about intimidation. It is about truth. She looks at the lawyer. And there is more truth you have not told me. His breath catches. Judy lowers her gaze, her voice quiet, but lethal. And you will tell me now, every detail, from the moment Elena's brother disappeared. The truth does not calm the room. It does not soothe. It hits like a wave breaking against stone. And when it recedes, the courtroom is left shaken, gasping for air. Judge Judy lets the silence hold. Not to punish, not to intimidate, to allow the weight of everything revealed to settle exactly where it belongs. The Mafia lawyer stands pale and wilted, stripped of every ounce of confidence he carried in. Seconds ago, he was a man holding secrets like weapons. Now he clutches guilt like it is the only thing keeping him upright. Elena wipes her cheeks with shaky fingers. She tries to breathe, but each inhale trembles with grief, relief, and the unbearable ache of hope. Her brother is alive. Alive. The word feels fragile in her hands. The defendant stares forward, jaw clenched. Fury simmers beneath his skin. Fury at being exposed, at losing control, at the betrayal from his own carefully curated circle. The cracks in him are no longer hairline. They are widening, spreading, splintering. Judge Judy finally speaks. Elena, she says, voice soft but firm. Tell me what your brother told you before he disappeared. Elena steadies herself with both hands on the podium. He said he had made enemies, she whispers. He said if anything happened to him, it would not be because he ran. He said it would be because he told the truth. Judy nods, absorbing the words. And you believed he abandoned you. Elena's eyes fill again. I believed I was alone. Not anymore, Judy says gently. The camera shifts, catching the Mafia lawyer as he lowers his gaze to the floor. I should have helped him, he murmurs. He warned me too. He said this would all come crashing down. I could not face him. Or myself. Judy studies him, not with sympathy, but with clarity. You still can tell the truth, she says. You can start now. His eyes lift, red-rimmed and exhausted. He trusted the wrong people, he says, but he trusted the right cause. He wanted justice. Elena's tears spill again, but her shoulders do not curl this time. She stands taller, as though each truth spoken strengthens her spine. The defendant scoffs under his breath. You are all fools, he mutters. You think any of this matters? Judy turns her head sharply. It matters, she says, because the truth is finally louder than your intimidation. The defendant's nostrils flare, rage surging again, but it is hollow now. His power has shifted. He feels it. Everyone feels it. Judy exhales, a slow, deliberate release. We are moving toward resolution, she says. But before we do, there are still unanswered questions. Her eyes slide back to the Mafia lawyer. Tell me everything about the documents, she says. Every step you took, every order given, every lie told. The lawyer's breath catches. His hands tremble again. Your Honor, there are things you do not know. Then enlighten me. He hesitates, looks at Elena, looks at the defendant, looks at the door his career walked through long before he said a single word today. His lips part, and his entire body seems to fold under the weight of what he is about to reveal. There is something else, he whispers, something your court has not seen yet. Judge Judy lowers her gaze to the forged documents, pages that now feel radioactive, glowing with every lie they carried into this courtroom. And for the first time since the hearing began, the room feels still enough for judgment to take shape. The fluorescent lights flicker above, humming like distant static. Judy smooths the top page of the file, the same file meant to intimidate her only hours ago. Now it sits harmlessly under her hand, powerless, exposed. Elena, she says, her tone softened but steady. Step forward. Elena obeys, shoulders trembling, but not with the same fear that once swallowed her voice. Her eyes are red, yes, but they are also open, clear, and brave in a way that makes the gallery lean in as though witnessing a sunrise. Judy lifts the first forged document. Her voice rings through the courtroom with deliberate clarity. This document was created to deceive, to silence, to force compliance from a citizen who owed you nothing except her fear. She glances toward the defendant, whose scowl has settled into something darker, more venomous. His arrogance is gone. His breathing is uneven. Judy continues reading. The inked lines distort an entire life, Elena's business, her finances, her very autonomy. The language is predatory, calculated, and unmistakably crafted for control. The Mafia lawyer stands rigid, face drained of color. Shame clings to him like sweat. He wipes his palms on his suit repeatedly, as if trying to scrub the guilt from his skin. You forged these signatures, Judy states, not a question. A fact. He nods once, a tiny broken movement. And you threatened her? A pause, then another nod. Elena closes her eyes, letting the truth settle like a weight finally being lifted. The defendant interrupts with a growl. She knew what she signed. Enough, Judy snaps, her tone slicing through his protest. You have done nothing but lie, intimidate, and manipulate every person connected to this case. The defendant's mouth clamps shut, fury burning behind his eyes. Judy lays the forged pages on the bench like evidence in a crime that has already convicted itself. These documents, along with the threats and coercion, will be referred to federal authorities immediately. The gallery gasps again. Even the bailiff stands taller, sensing the tide of justice turning with finality. Elena inhales sharply. The thought of accountability, real accountability, makes her shoulders sag in relief. Her brother's sacrifice, her terror, her silence. None of it is wasted. The Mafia lawyer whispers, barely audible. I never wanted it to go this far. Judy's gaze turns sharp as glass. And yet you followed every order. He lowers his head, destroyed by the truth of it. She folds her hands, and the courtroom feels like a held breath. We are approaching the verdict, she announces. I will consider every fact, every threat, every falsehood, and every act of courage displayed in this courtroom. A tear slips down Elena's cheek. The defendant stiffens. The lawyer looks ready to collapse. Judy studies each of them, one by one. Justice, she says, is no longer a question. It is a certainty. She lifts her gavel, slowly, deliberately. The next words I speak, Judy says, will decide the fate of everyone in this room. If you were Judge Judy, would you show mercy to the lawyer for confessing, or should every guilty party face full consequences? Judge Judy holds her gavel suspended in the air, not as a threat, but as the final breath before justice becomes reality. When the gavel finally strikes, it is not loud. It does not need to be. The room reacts instantly. The sound carries a weight far heavier than volume. A sound that ends intimidation, ends corruption, ends fear. "Here is my judgment," Judy begins, voice steady as granite. She faces Elena first. "You were placed in an impossible situation. You were manipulated, threatened, and emotionally cornered by men who believed your silence was guaranteed. Today, your courage dismantled that illusion." Tears slip silently down Elena's cheeks. Her shoulders shake, not in fear this time, but in release, in freedom. Judy turns to the Mafia lawyer. His head is bowed, his suit rumpled, his hands clasped together as if trying to hold his unraveling career in place. "You participated in forgery, coercion, and emotional manipulation," Judy states. "You used your legal authority to create fear instead of justice. This court does not have the power to sentence you, but it does have the power to expose you." He lifts his eyes, hollow and resigned. "All documentation related to your conduct will be forwarded to the appropriate state and federal authorities. Your bar license will be reviewed, and your participation in these threats will not be buried under your excuses." He nods slowly, accepting the truth he can no longer outrun. Then Judy shifts to the defendant, the man who has smirked, threatened, and controlled through silence and intimidation. Her stare meets his like iron against stone. "You used fear as currency," she says. "You believed you could control the truth by controlling the people who carried it. Today proves you were wrong." He glares back, jaw clenched, but the fight in him is gone, broken by exposure, by betrayal, by the collapse of the empire he built on threats. "This court reports every element of this case," Judy continues. "The forged documents, the recording, the coercion, the disappearance of Elena's brother. Everything. You will answer to authorities who are not impressed by theatrics or intimidation." The defendant's eyes flicker, not with anger now, but with something unfamiliar on his face. Fear. Elena clasps a hand over her mouth, sobbing softly. But these tears carry relief, not terror. The nightmare that once consumed her has finally cracked open to reveal a path forward. Judge Judy softens her tone, turning back to her. "Your brother protected you with truth," she says, "and today, your voice protected him." Elena nods, tears streaming freely. She stands taller than ever. Judy lifts her gavel once more, her final words ringing with quiet conviction. "This court will never fear those who hide behind power. Justice does not answer to intimidation. It answers to truth." Final strike. The gavel falls, and with it, every shadow in the room loses its power. Arrogance collapses. Truth stands, and justice, when spoken without fear, is louder than any threat.